Remember when the right used to be the side that was pro-censorship and anti-privacy? Pepperidge Farm remembers. What's good, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Biscuit, and today I want to check in on what's been going on around the world, or specifically the West in this case, regarding all sorts of forms of censorship that's been going on, being enacted by various governments, especially the UK and recently the US as well. So for those that don't know, I'm gonna try to give a TLDR. There was this law passed in the UK called the Online Safety Act that's supposed to protect the children. I wonder where I've heard that before, but all it really does is that it forces you to give up private information just so you can access, like, various websites like YouTube, and apparently Spotify has been deleting accounts if you don't verify your age. And now YouTube is obviously doing the same, but they're using like an AI system based on the type of content that you watch, which I don't even know how to feel about that at this point. I mean, like hell, I'm gonna show anyone my driver's license or my credit card information. I don't need anyone knowing any of that shit. And another thing that's been happening is that Steam has been removing games that an Australian organization called Collective Shout deems inappropriate and abusive to women. So much so that they pressured MasterCard and Visa into convincing Steam to remove those games. So much so that a lot of irate gamers sent a lot of calls to MasterCard and Visa complaining about the fact that they were forcing Steam to remove their games, and then they ended up playing dumb and saying, oh, we're not forcing anyone to remove anything. We're just trying to be in compliance with the law, which a lot of people obviously know that that's complete bullshit, in all honesty. And now they all seem to be doubling down on all of this, simply because they think it's for the children. TLDR out of the way, I wanted to react to this video because I wanted to at least be in the loop and in the know, and I wanted to help in the spreading of awareness of what's been going on. Before we get started, make sure you guys go check out chibireviews over here to show him some support. Check out his original video and then come back to me so that you can show the same support. But he takes priority over me, so I'll put links in the description. But for now, it seems YouTube is doubling down on forcing censorship with government ID and credit card information. I can't wait to see how much of a clusterfuck that this is gonna be.
YouTube went completely mask off about an hour ago, revealing its true intentions of its age verification process being added to the United States. And yes, you did not mishear me. I did not say the United Kingdom, I did not say Europe, I did not say Australia, I said the United States. The effects of censorship and age verification, everything else going on around the world, is now even affecting the United States.
Right, there's a very, very similar bill that's trying to be passed in, like, Congress that's very much a carbon copy of what's been passed. I don't actually know the full context of what's going on within the UK. I don't know if it's already been passed or if it's in the process of being passed. I know that it's in the process here in the US, but in the UK, I can't really vouch for them. There's so many videos on this, and I just wanted to react to at least one of them so that I can show some support and spread the word and all that. I might have to watch them on my own time just to get full context.
For those thinking that it would not come to their doorstep, here we are. So we need to summarize what YouTube means by this response and what they were responding to begin with. So yesterday, it came out that YouTube will start asking for your ID in the United States starting on August 13th, which obviously caused the collective of the internet to get a little bit upset, especially with everything that's been going on in the last 2 weeks, to like everything with payment processors, with Steam, to itch.io, to Collective Shout, to the UK government and their monitoring task force, to Wikipedia being monitored.
Oh yeah, Wikipedia actually is I think they're suing the government because they don't like what's going on. So, and this is Wikipedia we're talking about, where you can literally edit any article to include literal lies about a certain subject. But even they are against all this shit.
To having Spotify age verification, to Discord verification, and all these different things, to like politicians in UK trying to get, actual American companies to bend over and censor themselves. It's been a lot going on back to back, and I can understand that, it's hard for everybody to keep up with what's going on.
Right, there's like 5 videos a day that's coming out about all of this, and I just wanted to react to one because I wanted to make sure that not only did I spread awareness, but I also wanted to make sure that I have at least some content on my channel. At least before all of this hits the fan and I have to find ways to support this channel without having to worry about stuff like this.
But basically, everybody's response to this, thanks to this announcement yesterday, was obviously it's like, oh, so you're bending over for the UK government. Oh, you're falling in line with the censorship that's been ongoing around the world. And a lot of big content creators obviously started talking about this. Makes sense, they should, because this is a pretty big deal. Now, what does YouTube necessarily stand to gain by this? Were they forced to do this? Or is this something that they wanted to do for a very long time?
I mean, you could point the finger and say that it is something that they wanted to do, or maybe they're just doing it in compliance with whatever laws are being passed. I can't really speak on behalf of all of this stuff.
So let's dissect this. Let's read the response first. As you mentioned in your reply, this won't be required for all users. We've always had the option for age verification through ID or credit card if someone is incorrectly estimated to be under 18. This update is about using better technology to make these estimations.
Is that the truth? I mean, knowing big companies are willing to lie to our faces just to get us to buy products, I can only imagine that this might be a half-truth.
Now, this is a very corpo response, but
right, exactly as I said.
It's very clear that most likely the people a part of YouTube and Google probably sat around a table collectively for a bit to be able to kind of figure out how they wanted to word this and post this online, because the heart of the matter is that YouTube doesn't straight up deny that they are implementing a system, AI system, to be able to determine and estimate if your account is under 18 or not. And as anyone knows,
I mean, the YouTube channel that I'm using to watch all of these videos that I've been reacting to was a private channel that I just use for myself. The Biscoon channel that I'm using to upload videos, I don't really use it to watch anything. I mean, I have subscribed to like a few channels and stuff with this account just to show some support when it was needed. But I have a private channel that I use to watch stuff. But if this ends up affecting this channel that you're watching on right now, I might have to make some changes.
when it comes to YouTube's automated systems, when it comes to copyright ID, copyright strikes, getting in touch with YouTube to begin with, or even getting to talk with someone in email, to just how things are handled anyway in shape and form when it comes to an automated system on YouTube, it doesn't work right. It is not functioning. It barely functions most of the time. And so them incorporating an AI to be able to look at individual accounts, millions of accounts, and determine if this account is, let's say, an adult or not, is obviously going to lead to thousands upon thousands, and that's lowballing it, thousands of people getting hit by this restriction that...
Right, because if you, like, say that you're a YouTuber who likes to either talk about, let's say, cartoons, right? There's a lot of cartoon YouTubers that talk about cartoons and review cartoons and stuff that are usually made for kids, although sometimes they do talk about more adult-related cartoons. But who's to say that that account might end up getting mistaken for being a kid's account? Like, if you're making a video essay about something like SpongeBob or Hey Arnold or whatever, and this AI flags it as, oh, this must be someone under 18, only to find out that it's not the case at all.
YouTube is implementing, and they try to brush this off and make it seem like what they're doing is not bad, because they outlined at the beginning saying they've always had an age verification through ID or credit card. And so let's dissect that. Let's rip this apart and talk about this, because I feel like a lot of people are going to assume that YouTube has always had this and people have been fine with it, when it's...
I don't know if YouTube has always had this. I mean, I don't remember ever being asked for my age. I mean, besides the fact that whenever you create an account, that kind of requires that you be at least 13, but whether or not that's considered verification, I guess, would be up for debate.
a very misleading post by them, so let's explain that. So first off, we gotta read these first two sentences of YouTube's response. This won't be required for all users. We've always had the option for age verification through ID or credit card, and this one might cause a lot of people to get confused. Millions of people around the world probably access YouTube and are probably wondering themselves, they have accessed the platform just fine and never had to verify their age.
Right. I mean, when you create an account, it requires you to be 13, but anyone can lie about their age for any reason or another.
Never had to give over their credit card information or their ID to verify their age for accessing YouTube as a platform. So it's like, what is this? What does YouTube mean that they've always had this system in place? Well, let's explain. First off, if you're someone that is a content creator that gets paid through Google and AdSense...
Oh, right. Whenever you get, like, monetization, obviously you need some way to get the money to whatever counts you have. So I can understand that they would have something like that.
In YouTube, then you technically have given over your ID, your governmental ID, to Google to be able to get paid and be able to pay taxes and all that type of stuff. It is something that you've already done in the past. Content creators that get paid for YouTube have already given ID.
Am I gonna have to deal with this in the event that this channel finally takes off? That sounds like a hassle, but in some cases it might be worth it.
And then, on the other side, you have those that potentially get premium, for instance, YouTube Premium. They've already given over their credit card. And
true. That's actually kind of true. I do use Premium on my private account, and it's hooked up to my Apple ID.
And so, if their credit card is already on file, and it's already posted on the account, then obviously this is what YouTube is talking about. So it is a very misleading first two sentences that you...
So does that mean I wouldn't have anything to worry about? I mean, yes, my private account is using Premium, but I don't really use this channel that I'm uploading with to watch videos. I just use it solely for uploading videos.
YouTube put out here, and it tries to kind of make it go under everybody's nose, make it assume that it's always been there, don't worry about it. But the thing is that the identification to the ID and credit card has always been something that has been willingly given over. For instance, those that give their ID over to Google or YouTube is because they're wanting to get paid through AdSense, get paid through YouTube and Google. And as for those with credit cards or debit cards, it's for those that want to buy YouTube Premium to be able to not deal with the spam ads continuously.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't like having to deal with the ads
on the platform that has gotten worse and worse over the years. I'll talk more about that in a moment. But the point is that...
Oh, yeah. Wasn't there, like, some instance where... What was it? Whenever you tried to install an ad blocker, YouTube ends up punishing you for it. I don't remember if that's exactly what happened, but I distinctly remember stories of people using ad blockers only to get screwed over.
Yes, technically, if we're going along with YouTube's words, they're not full out lying. Like, they're not straight up lying here. However, as I said, it's very misleading, and so we need to dive into what it actually means. This update is about using better technology to make these estimations. Now, these estimations that they actually try to leave out here is through an AI. They straight up admitted in a post, and there's multiple articles that cover this, that there will be an AI training itself to determine if you are a minor or not.
Right. Actually, I heard about... Now, I've known about all the censorship stuff that's been going on, which, for those that are in the loop, can understand why it's bullshit. But I first heard about the fact that YouTube's using AI to enforce these ID rules from a podcast where one of the segments happens to be like talking about it. And obviously I wouldn't want to show complete strangers my ID just so I could access YouTube. Granted, I have Premium, so they clearly have my cards on file, although it's connected to my Apple account.
You're under 18. And as I already said, anything that is used with automation or anything that is automated on the YouTube platform or Google, it doesn't work right, especially with AI as well. There's going to be thousands upon thousands of people that are going to be hit incorrectly by this system, and then they're going to be forced to put in their credit card information or their ID. And this is what YouTube is hoping to actually happen. YouTube is hoping to roll out this AI system, and it will estimate if an account is under 18 or not. And what this will theoretically do is that the account will determine if you're an adult or not because of the content or what you engage with.
Right.
For instance, if you're someone that watches like cartoons, anime, let's plays of games, let's say you just watch content that is for everyone, a wide range spectrum.
So one of those appropriate for all audiences or all ages, anything that's rated G.
Of a lot of people, the AI might determine that you're under 18. And so it'll flag the account and say, oh, you know, you need to determine if you're an adult, so give us your credit card information or give us your ID. And obviously, many people that look at this, they're going to opt for giving over their debit/credit card information.
Well, I'm not going to give them my card information. I'm more comfortable sharing ID. As long I know that I shouldn't be caving in to their whim, but if we're being realistic, if and or when this does get implemented, if I had to choose between my credit cards or my ID, I would much rather have them show my ID, because at least they don't have access to my bank account.
Over their ID. That's typically what I think the normal human would do. If they were to give over something to YouTube, they would give their card information first. So, what does this mean overall? What direction is this going? Well, YouTube's solution is that if you put in your ID or credit card to fix your restriction, most people just use the credit card over putting it in their ID to verify. This means that
maybe I might have to rethink whether or not I would choose. I just don't want whoever's verifying to steal my bank account information. I don't want them taking my money. I'd rather... Granted, I also don't want to get doxxed or anything, but... At this point, I don't really want to have to do either of these. I was trying to give at least some benefit of the doubt, but there's only so much that you can give until it's no longer viable.
YouTube sees a potential possibility for the people that put in their card information to one day buy premium. And when I saw this, when I thought of this in my head, when I saw this response from YouTube, I was like, it all makes sense.
So they just want our money, is basically what they're saying. You know, Fry from Futurama saying, shut up and take my money, if it means not having to worry about age restrictions.
It all makes so much sense now why YouTube jumped on this bandwagon of age verification.
So they're not even doing it for government reasons, they're just doing it to make a quick buck? That's very bizarre. I mean, Spotify's deleting accounts if you don't verify your age, but YouTube's just trying to make money? I mean, people can respect hustles and grinds and stuff, but there's a point to where it's not even worth it. To quote Riley Freeman, Young Reezy the fundraiser, when the cost of doing business gets too high, you get out of business.
Years now, we've all seen it. YouTube has tried to force people to watch more and more ads and even went out of their way to block ad blockers.
Yes, this was what I was talking about. They were punishing people for using ad blockers.
There was a big push even at the beginning of this year where YouTube was trying to remove ad blockers from all sorts of different web browsers. We've all seen it. A lot of people talked about that. So YouTube is desperate to force you to not use ad blockers, desperate to basically make you watch more content or buy their premium subscription.
I mean, once again, you can understand that, a lot of YouTubers make money. A lot of their commission and stuff comes from ad revenue. And if you don't want to watch those ads, I think, don't quote me on this, I think that technically means less money, but I can't be too sure.
And so, we gotta look at what this means. If YouTube gets you to not just put your ID on file for your account, but your credit card information, you're more inclined to eventually buy YouTube Premium. You're more inclined to straight up make a purchase and be like, I'm done with these ads. Because if your card information is already attached to your account, you're determined you're an adult, okay? Eventually, you might get fed up with ads, and you're just gonna be like, you know what, my card information's already on the site, let's just buy Premium. And there you go.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. I have Premium because I like listening to stuff and long car rides, but even I can understand that there's a lot of people that just don't want to pay that much money a month just so that they don't have to deal with ads.
YouTube got what they wanted from you. And so, even if it wasn't the direct cause, this is definitely going to lead to that. It's going to lead to YouTube getting more premium subscription buys from this straight up evasion of privacy. They are forcing people to either dox themselves with their ID or through their card information, which you can already see the inherent issues there.
Yeah, both of those are an issue. I just said that I'd rather share my ID because at least they can't take my money. But thinking about it now, there's always the potential of being doxxed.
It is a tactic to get more purchases of their premium subscription. Now, another thing to tack onto this is with the ID. Now, let's say you decide to put in your ID, and so that means you won't get YouTube Premium. Your ID is also very useful, and let's explain. Data brokers, people that sell data, okay?
Oh, right. No. Freaking King of the Hill had a whole episode about this where a bunch of mailing lists kept giving Hank Hill a bunch of pornography, right? Because there was a system error within the video store that they went to that said that he rented a movie called Cuffs and Collars, even though he never rented a movie. And he was able to prove that he didn't using very detailed forensic evidence. But Yeah, Dale mentioned that Hank's name and ID and his address and stuff were all within the global computer system that he refers to as the Beast. And so because of that, because of a computer error that was made, mistaking Hank for renting cuffs and collars, his information ended up being shared with mailing lists and stuff, and so he ended up getting a whole bunch of smut from all of these like prawn sites and stuff. And obviously Hank didn't want anything to do with any of that stuff, but of course everyone kept looking at Hank with judgmental looks, thinking that he actively looks at prawn. But eventually he was able to prove his innocence.
If your ID isn't attached to your account and YouTube wants to sell this ID to their advertisers to be able to send you more ads, then your data is worth a lot more. Like, for instance, what would theoretically, I don't know the prices of data, okay? But let's say your account data to a regular company is worth $100, okay? Now, if you have an ID associated with this to prove who you are, where you live, your region, and everything, that account data that was used to be $100 might now be worth $500. So you can see that even if you don't go the premium route to theoretically buy YouTube Premium with the debit card, eventually, YouTube is still benefiting if your ID is put on the platform.
I see how this is going on. I see how this is working. You're basically turning I mean, there's a reason we call them consumers, right? People make things and people want to buy those things. So I understand the mindset and where they're coming from. They're just trying to make money. But the way that they're going about it is a way that a lot of people really don't like, which when people don't like something, when people don't like a product, they stop buying it, which means less money for them. Eventually, no. If you want to make your concerns clear, make them clear with your wallet. If you don't want anything to do with these policies, just make sure that they ain't getting shit from you. Make sure that you're not paying a dime. And the same thing with like the whole Visa and MasterCard stuff with Steam. Don't give MasterCard and Visa any of your business. And also keep calling them. Keep spamming phone calls to their customer service line. They're apparently getting like thousands of calls a day from irate gamers saying, hey, why are you doing all this? Stop. Literally an extension of stop killing games. Granted, stop killing games is a completely separate issue altogether, but it's funny how they kind of go hand in hand with all of this stuff.
Because they can sell your data and make more money off of it. And so no matter if you give up your ID or your credit card information, YouTube stands to gain. They are either going to sell your data if they know your ID, or they're straight up going to be able to one day convince you to buy YouTube Premium, because they're going to spam you with ads. No matter what direction you go, YouTube gains. They gain money here. They only stand to gain from this entire situation. And they're using the optics of think of the kids, protect the kids, determine if you're under 18 or not, to be able to...
It's always for the kids. That's just an excuse for them to say, if you don't believe the way we do, or you don't behave the way we do, then you're an immoral, mustachioed Austrian painter, part of the mustachioed Austrian painter fan club, otherwise known as the National Socialists. I think it's ironic, considering that a lot of these same types of people are socialists themselves. But it's the base kind of socialism, not the national socialism of the other side, even though there's really not that much of a difference.
Get away with this. They're doing the exact same tactics that the UK is doing, that Australia is doing, that Europe is doing, that Collective Shout is doing, that these payment processors are doing. They are doing the exact same thing that these companies have been doing now, especially in these last 2 weeks. And what's really gross about this is when you take 2 moments or 2 seconds to think about the situation, everything about protect the kids falls apart with YouTube's argument. And let's explain that.
Right, because if we're protecting kids, I mean, they're trying to figure out if you're under 18, but that's not gonna stop them from like showing ads to people under 18, right? Like if you're some teenager who's into some product, they're gonna try to expose you to ads for that product. They'll figure it out. I mean, what was it? I remember years ago, there was a case of, I think it was Amazon, who was able to figure out that a woman was pregnant based on her buying habits. She didn't know she was pregnant, but because of her buying habits, they were able to advertise her a bunch of baby-related stuff. And once again, she had no idea she was pregnant until after all of that. So the fact that she was being advertised baby stuff without knowing that she was pregnant yet, no, that shit's freaky. In all honesty, that shit's freaky, and that's pretty much what's going on here. They're just advertising it to kids this time. Granted, I know that the YouTube Kids app, I don't know how YouTube Kids actually works. I don't know if they show ads. I know you can't necessarily do that, but it wouldn't, but when you only need to be 13 to create a YouTube account, and there's nothing stopping them from advertising to teenagers.
So let's look at the credit card information for a second. So let's say you
have some teenager who wants to do stuff with YouTube, and they're like, Dad, Mom, can you show me your credit card information so I can go on YouTube? And I highly doubt their parents are gonna be very thrilled by that. No, they're trying to protect the kids, yet the kids are the ones that are getting screwed over, because you really think that a kid's parents are just gonna share their card information all willy-nilly like that? I'm pretty sure a lot of parents are gonna be just as frustrated as people who aren't parents that also use YouTube a lot.
use your debit/credit card to be able to determine you're an adult or not. How is YouTube supposed to know that it isn't a kid grabbing their parents' wallet?
Yes, exactly the point that I just made. Like, what does YouTube expect teenagers in particular to do? Are they just gonna ask their parents for their card just so they could watch YouTube? No. I mean, any sensible parent isn't going to like that. What makes you think, I mean, even if the kid themselves had some sort of credit card or card of some kind that's like linked to one of those apps that are regulated by the parents, do you honestly think that it would be good for them to want to share that information?
Opening it up and grabbing their debit and credit card and putting it on their account. What's to say they don't do that? A kid does not do something like that. It won't stop a kid doing that. And if it is that simple to verify the process that you're an adult, then it's not helping anything. It's not going to protect kids whatsoever. All it's going to do is that your debit and credit card information is on YouTube's site, and one day you can make a purchase either to rent a movie, or buy YouTube Premium. That is the only purpose of your credit card, debit card being there. It's not to verify if you're an adult or not. Then we got to look at the ID situation. Obviously, it is definitely a better option of protecting against maybe a minor account, but it doesn't change the fact that the same thing can happen. A kid can go into their parents' wallet, grab their ID, put it there, and scan it. But the fact that there's an option of a credit card, that's just so much easier. But let's still get back into the ID thing.
Okay, so I remember a lot of all of the censorship stuff, a lot of them are also requiring like facial ID, or allowing like facial ID as well, like face recognition to see if you're an adult. But the thing is, I've seen some pretty old-looking teenagers in my day. I remember I was working at this one place, and there was a new employee that was hired that I swear looked like that they were in their 30s, only to find out that they were 16. And I remember thinking to myself, that's the oldest-looking 16-year-old I've ever seen. So if YouTube decides to implement something like that using facial recognition, who's to say that someone who's 16 but looks 30 can like take advantage of such a system and start looking at suggestive content? Or even someone with like an aging disorder who might actually be 30 but looks like they're 12, because there are like aging disorders where you're a grown adult but you still have the face of a kid. Who's to say someone can't take advantage of something like that in order to do other bizarre things? So one can imagine this as a sort of slippery slope.
Kid can do the exact same thing, scan the ID, and instantly they gain access to the account. But even if we want to say that's even a much better process, it doesn't disregard the fact of data collection from it. It's extremely gross. Then we gotta look at other things that really just start to blow even more holes into the situation. YouTube Kids. What is the point in YouTube having an...
Right. No, he's actually bringing up a good point. The sole purpose of YouTube Kids was so that kids who wanted to watch YouTube could just look at, like, granted, there's the whole Elsa-gate thing with Spider-Man and Elsa doing lewd things with each other and very lewd animations involving other children's characters. I think it still exists, although to a much lesser extent than it was back then. But the whole point of YouTube Kids was so that they wouldn't have to deal with this kind of stuff. I don't think they show ads on YouTube Kids. So all of this that YouTube wants to implement just seems superfluous when you really think about it.
Entire section of their platform dedicated and called YouTube Kids if they're not even going to use it, if they're not going to utilize it or improve it. Instead, they introduced this AI to determine if you're under 18 or not. It's very obvious what the optics here is. It's obviously not about protecting kids. It's about gathering data. And the crazy part about...
Right. Now, with regards to all the other stuff now, with like collective shout, collective Karens, as some would call them, they just want to get rid of stuff that they don't like because they think that it's offensive to women, which... There's nothing wrong with wanting to make the world a safer place for all people, but when you're doing it at the detriment of people that mean no harm to anyone or anything, then it obviously becomes a problem. And with the UK doing all of its shenanigans, it's really not that much different.
The situation is that YouTube can easily act like they're innocent here because they can say, the UK made us do it, the UK's Online Safety Act made us do it.
That's what Visa and MasterCard have been saying with regards to all the games that were removed from Steam. They're like, oh, we're just being in compliance with the laws of different countries, when really they just don't want, when really it seems that they were pressured by these Karens to force Steam to remove those games. No, they keep saying that they didn't remove the games, but keep calling them. Don't stop spamming customer service. Even if you're on hold for like 20 minutes, don't hang up. Keep going. And if they tell you that there's no one available to take your call, try again. Eventually, they're not going to take it anymore, and they're going to cave in to the whim of the consumers.
Innocent. They forced us to do this. We're so sorry, everyone. We didn't want to do this, but they're forcing us to do this. And they could easily try to get away with it. But don't let YouTube and Google gaslight you into assuming that they are not the ones pushing this. Because I want to reiterate this. This is happening in the US. The US. This is not UK. This is happening in the US. They don't have to do this.
Right. I mean, there was the whole, thing that was passed in Texas, the quote-unquote anime ban, because they view it as too explicit, which I know that there are some people that definitely have a problem with that, but that's just on a state level. Like, the Constitution guarantees the states' rights to their own laws. Like, weed is technically illegal in the entire country of the US, but every individual state is allowed to have their own laws. But because it's illegal on a federal level, you're not allowed to carry weed from one state to another, even if both states have legalized weed. The fact that it's from one state to another means that at the borders of each state, you're at federal jurisdiction, so you'd have to comply with that. But considering that they're implementing this stuff on a more national scale, it's clearly not because of laws that exist within the country itself. Even if the UK is doing all of this stuff, that doesn't necessarily mean the US is. Granted, there is a bill in the US that's trying to imitate what UK is doing, but here in the US, just call your local congressman or whatever. Just try to do it that way.
Especially in the US, but they are. Which showcases that this is their intention to make more money and profit off of everything going on around the world with the whole censorship and credit cards and everything. Gross behavior. Do not let YouTube and Google gaslight you into thinking it's anything but trying to gather information from you. Now, there is another thing to tackle onto this entire situation. What is the point of COPPA? You guys know COPPA?
COPPA? I remember back, this was back when I was in high school. This was about a decade ago. The whole COPPA and something. I don't remember the actual acronyms. No, that was a big deal back then. And they viewed a lot of these as other forms of censorship, quote unquote, for the children. But a lot of people were very, very concerned by what was going on. No, I remember that stuff. I think it was called Sofa. I don't remember what it was called. It was something like that. But I remember that being a big deal back then. And I remember watching YouTube channels exposing just how bad of a thing that such things were. Granted, there's nothing wrong with wanting to protect children from absurd things. But when it's at the detriment of other people that are just trying to do their own thing without even hurting anybody, then obviously that's a big no-no.
If you're a regular browser of someone that just browsers content, you might not know this. This is mainly for content creators, but anyone that obviously has used YouTube and uploads videos knows what COPA is. And it literally asks if this video is made for adults or not, and asking if it's, for people above 13 and 14.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
And all that. You have this whole little segment on YouTube to make it even more of a hassle to get your video monetized.
No shit. I mean, in order to get monetized, you need at least 1,000 subscribers. I'm at 61 as of the making of this video, but to quote Ludwig,
"Let's up those numbers!"
What's the point of that if YouTube is also implementing something like this? Because if you make your video 18 plus, the video is demonetized. Or
is it? I haven't really noticed.
Limited ads. That's what happens if a video is for actual adults. So you have another issue there, is that if your video is strictly for adults, you don't even make money on YouTube, or limited money at that. So you see the point here. There is a lot of things that just start to poke holes in this. It was not thought out very far, and it's very clear this is just to scare people into giving their ID and their credit card information over. Wild. So yeah, don't let YouTube gaslight you into this. I wanted to talk about this because this is extremely important.
And that's also why I'm talking about this. I feel that this is very important. Granted, yes, I think, deep down, the only reason I'm making this video is just to get some attention to my channel. But isn't that what we're all doing? We all want to hop on the bandwagon, Granted, this is very important, so I think that is going to take priority. Spreading awareness of this stuff takes priority over getting views. I'm just saying.
Is tackling on more information that, has been coming out. Obviously, there's a lot more stuff I want to cover, like this and all that, and this as well. And I might make a separate video later today or maybe tomorrow.
Let me see. Unfortunately, an individual account has appeared in Japan listing BL authors and stating, "I will urge publishers to regulate these authors' books." Okay, so now we're going on into what is essentially softcore book burning. Is that what's going on? Banning books? Now, I remember, in middle school, 8th grade, we read To Kill a Mockingbird, which was a banned book for its time due to the subject material involving things like racism and Jim Crow and all that. And there are other books of that nature that were also banned for their sensitive materials. And now it seems like we're going back down that road. Let me finish reading this. However, this is an act that challenges freedom of expression, much like the regulatory groups currently causing issues. It also seems like their goal might be to amplify the controversy to gain more impressions, so it might be best not to engage too much and instead consider sending supportive emails to the relevant publishers. Nah, I remember coming across one of his videos saying that Japan doesn't want anything to do with this censorship stuff, especially with regards to anime. And no, and then obviously Wikipedia is suing the governments, I think. Don't quote me on that. I don't remember the exact details. But no, from this tweet, it seems like we're going back to banning books. Maybe softcore book burning.
We're talking about it, but for now, I strictly want to talk about this mask off moment from YouTube because it's very important to spread awareness.
Alright, that was a very informative video. Make sure you guys have checked out his original one. I'm probably not going to react to other videos of this nature because there's just so many, and I don't really have the time to react to them all, because I don't want to, take away from them. I don't want to overwhelm anyone with videos of my own. I just want to be able to contribute and spread awareness. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, share this video. Make sure you share not only this, but all the other videos to whoever you feel is necessary to share with. And hopefully I'll see you guys next time on a less than heavy video. Take care.